WBC's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. I'm sure most of you have heard by now. Late yesterday, Amanda Serrano decided she'd had quite enough of the World Boxing Council, and I said in the build-up of this situation that Amanda's not going to let them push her around. In a caption that reads, "I love boxing. I have given my life to this sport. No phone, no boyfriend, no parties, just boxing. I am the only boxer, male or female, from Puerto Rico to become undisputed champion. I am the only female boxer to have won titles in 7 divisions. I am the first female boxer, along with Katie, to headline Madison Square Garden. I am the first female boxer to make 7 figures from a fight and the same from sponsors. And I am the first undisputed female champion to fight 12 3-minute rounds. Moving forward, if a sanctioning body doesn't want to give me and my fellow fighters the choice to fight the same as the men, then I will not be fighting for that sanctioning body. The World Boxing Council has refused to evolve the sport for equality, so I am relinquishing their title." And if you needed a little bit more clarity on this situation between Amanda and the World Boxing Council, Combat Sports editor Daniel Yanofsky stated the WBC is the only sanctioning body refusing to accept 12 3-minute rounds in women's boxing. Research suggests it can work. Also, women's MMA compete under the same structure as men. Amanda Serrano takes a big leap, relinquishing the WBC belt. Kudos to her for taking a stance.
My thoughts.
The WBC, more so than the other 3 alphabet organizations, wants to play God. They want to overstate and overemphasize their role in the sport of boxing to the point where one of its fixtures, one of its most accomplished fighters, has no choice but to stand apart from them, and I don't blame her.
It's not the commissions that actually issue boxing licenses to boxers saying Amanda can't fight for 12 3-minute rounds. Hell, it's not even unanimous amongst the alphabet organizations. The other 3, they're okay with it. It's only the World Boxing Council that is taking this hardline stance.
It's only the WBC, but if the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF are okay with it, then what's the WBC's problem? And you have to ask yourself, if you're Amanda and these people are siphoning money from your fight purse so that they can tell you that you can't fight for 12 3-minute rounds, you start to ask yourself, well, what do I need them for?
Is this really about fighter safety, or is this about you playing God? You overemphasizing your role in the sport?
In mixed martial arts, the women are allowed to compete for the same amount of time as the men because they're not competing against men. They're competing against other women. So it's all relative. Then you look over at the sport of boxing, the World Boxing Council's hardline stance, and you ask yourself,
The fuck's their problem?
the World Boxing Council that's too busy creating weight classes that no one is asking for and ignoring what the fighters are asking for. The female fighters, the ones who would like to fight for 12 3-minute rounds. No, it's not unanimous. No, it's not across the board, but for the ones that do.
Like Amanda.
No, it doesn't have to be uniform in every women's boxing match moving forward, but for the fighters that do want to fight for that duration of time, I don't see why they couldn't have softened their stance, especially when a fighter as decorated, as well-known and accomplished as Amanda.
Why couldn't they have made that accommodation? Saying that they would never sanction a women's boxing match for 12 3-minute rounds under any circumstances is nothing short of a hardline stance.
And I'm glad that it's Amanda Serrano spearheading the effort to take a stance and remind the World Boxing Council who's in charge here and who needs who, because the World Boxing Council relies on the sanctioning fees, the money they get from the fighters.
The World Boxing Council that's been associated with some dubious business practices and dubious decisions over the years. The creation of the franchise title, the creation of the Bridger weight division that no one was asking for. Their brazen favoritism.
Brazen chicanery in their own rank standings, which they manipulate at their own discretion, as well as favorable treatment.
Favoritism. The favoritism they show their favorite guys, their favorite champions.
World Boxing Council, as it pertains to them, somebody's needed to put them in their place for a long time now and remind them that it's the blood, sweat, and tears of the fighters. It's the fighters' fight purses that make all of this possible. And until the fighters start to take a stand, take a stance against the World Boxing Council, nothing's gonna change.
In order to shift the axis of power in the right direction, it's the fighters themselves that have to remind the World Boxing Council who needs who. You are just one of 4 sanctioning bodies. There's nothing so unique or special about you. If you don't want to play ball, then you're not invited to the game.
You want to dictate to Amanda for how many minutes and how many rounds she should be able to fight as a woman while simultaneously siphoning money from her fight purse?
Who do you think you are?
The World Boxing Council, that is often described as one of the more dubious and corrupt organizations in all of boxing, won't change their business practices until the fighters take a stand against them, because it's the fighters' fight purses they rely upon to finance their organization. Thus, they need to be reminded who's really in control, who's really in charge.
Is it the fighters? The ones doing all the actual fighting, or what's supposed to be a non-profit organization that charges $80 for a hat and $44 for a t-shirt?
Somebody's needed to put the WBC in their place for a long time now, because Mauricio Suleiman, that organization's president, fancies himself more of a promoter or a politician than the president of a non-profit, quote-unquote non-profit.
Sticking his nose in geopolitics while creating weight classes that no one is asking for, simultaneously ignoring what the fighters are asking for, at least some of them.
Needless to say, I support Amanda Serrano and not the WBC.
This is what you sign up to do. What do you think it was going to be about? See, with Joshua, and I've said it many times before, and I'll say it again, it's a difference between champions being born and being made.
It's funny that Deontay Wilder didn't say any of this stuff when he was in the same room as Anthony Joshua.
Brian. And Joshua's was made. You understand me?
I've long maintained when it comes to Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua that the green-eyed monster has a hold of him. It has a hold of Deontay Wilder, and he is very much jealous, envious of Anthony Joshua.
He was a made fighter.
And what were you? I mean, he was a late starter in the sport, the same as you, and he went to the Olympics the same as you. The difference is he was more successful. Where all you got was the bronze, he came home with the gold.
They bought things. They gave him things. Even with certain things with the arena, oh, they sold out this. No, y'all didn't sold out nothing. Y'all comp tickets.
Because the PBC never comps tickets.
And y'all resold them. You did I know how the whole game works, bro. I'm behind scenes. I know how things work. You want to sell out? You want to seem like you done sell out? You put your tickets out there, and you build your own little ticket thing. You know what I mean? And you comp all it. You buy all your tickets.
If Deontay Wilder really knew how the game works, like he says, he'd know that this practice is not exclusive to Anthony Joshua fights. Quite literally, it's the industry standard, and everyone does it. Thus, he is either playing dumb or he is dumb.
Now it seems like you done sold out the arena. And what you do, all you do is put it back on the market and resell it. But gain, everything else is gain. So wherever people buy, it's coming to your account because you done already bought all the tickets. And it may seem like you done had sold out event.
Like I said, this guy is either playing dumb or he is dumb. He's either playing dumb so he can have something negative to say about Anthony Joshua, or he is dumb and he doesn't know that this is the industry standard.
And all that stuff is one of the oldest tricks in the books when it comes to the business. And then now the people on the outside looking in, oh my God, they sold out.
On the predication that he's just now become aware of this, is he also aware that anyone from Anthony Joshua
That guy.
to Floyd Mayweather knows this?
They sold out faster than Michael fucking Jackson. That's how the trick is done. And people on the outside looking in don't understand the business.
Well, this sounds like a corn-pone idiot who just now found out about resellers. Because you can't pigeonhole Anthony Joshua for reselling tickets when it's the industry standard and literally everyone does it, including your people.
And when they see that module is happening, they think a spectacular thing has happened. Oh my God, that's a phenomenal fighter. Look at how everybody just want to see.
This this guy is a fucking moron. He's either pretending to be a fucking moron just so he can have something negative to say, or he actually is a fucking moron, and he just found out about what is a standard flip.
It's a standard practice, literally an industry standard. Did he just now find out about this? Moreover, Deontay Wilder is a double-talking fraud, because when he was in the presence of Anthony Joshua, he didn't have any of these negative things to say, but as soon as he gets somewhere else, in front of someone else, this is what he comes out with.
And don't give me the bit about being in front of Saudi Arabian royalty as the reason he had hair on his tongue, because Jarrell Miller didn't have any hair on his tongue, and he was in front of that same royalty. He said it with his chest. He said what was on his mind, but Deontay, he chose to be polite. He chose to be cordial, only so that when he gets in front of someone else, somewhere else, this is what he says. He says Eddie Hearn doesn't want to make the fight, Joshua versus Wilder, because he's not confident in his product. He's not confident in what he invested in. Joshua is the only money-making fighter that Matchroom has, and here I thought he wasn't selling out. Weren't you just saying that he wasn't selling out and it's all an illusion? Now you're saying he's the only moneymaker they've got. Wilder continued, that is their business, and they don't want to see their business fall to the likes of me.
The green-eyed monster has a hold of this guy, and what's likely stuck up his crawl is, rumor has it, it's gonna be Anthony headlining the show, not Deontay. Rumor has it, at least per Dan Rafael,
Joshua versus Valine is the main event, and Wilder versus Parker is the co-main event. Deontay Wilder suggested that they should flip a coin as to who's going to headline the show, who's going to headline the Day of Reckoning card in Saudi, but when you think about it, it's in Saudi.
Right.
That accommodates a UK time zone more than an American one, though as far as America and American time zones, you were on pay-per-view last year and you didn't sell anything, so you're not in any position to talk about his marquee value when he's on the Forbes list and you're not. He's got big corporate sponsors like Hugo Boss and Range Rover.
you don't.
This isn't even his first or second rodeo in that region of the world for big cash, for a big purse, but it is yours. This is the first time.
Wilder's a fucking idiot. His fans are fucking idiots.
It's just a bunch of fucking idiots, but not just fucking idiots, jealous fucking idiots. Because for how many years did I tell you, Wilder's ego would not allow him to accept that he was not as big a draw as this kid, that he was in fact the B-side to Anthony Joshua. Irrespective of what you think of Anthony's boxing and his ability to box, his heart, what have you.
Whatever. What's not up for debate is that he's a bigger draw than you are. A bigger draw everywhere in the world. And once again, that's why he's on the Forbes list alongside Canelo Alvarez and Lionel Messi, LeBron James.
You don't see Wilder's name anywhere up there. I mean, do you understand how this works? Does he? I don't think so, because he just found out about resellers.
He's a country bumpkin. He's a corn-pone fucking idiot.
He's a double talker. Because you could have said all of this to his face when he was in front of you, and you didn't. Kind of like you could have called Tyson Fury a cheater to his face.
After your second fight with Tyson Fury, you said that he cheated. Do you still feel that way after the second fight?
I go with that to my grave.
When he was in front of you.
Bomb's good!
Good, all right.
Four guys,
Good. Bless.
But you did. And what it sounds like is you're jealous. You're jealous that you may be the co-main event to the main event that he's headlining because he's a bigger draw than you are.
And you still can't get over
Now,
it.
as it pertains to a fight between them, former champion Farrell Crotch says Deontay Wilder knocks Anthony Joshua spark out in one round. That's his opinion. He's entitled to it. You're entitled to yours, and I'm entitled to mine, even if I don't agree with his. In any event, he says Deontay Wilder knocks him spark out in one round. I've always said that, and I still think it's true. Wilder would come out in the first round looking for AJ, who is tentative at the best of times, but he is now afraid of his own shadow. These days, I think Wilder catches him with a bomb that lands on his chin, and he goes down and just does not get up. Froch told in the Zone podcast whether he can get up or not, he won't want to. That's the reason these two aren't fighting now, because if that happens, his career is over and the curtain comes down for good. However, if he gets his head right, he can definitely win the fight. And see, I have no issue with Froch thinking Wilder wins the fight because it's a fight prediction. Anything can happen, though when you say that's the reason they're not fighting now, yeah, that bit of it I take issue with, because that bit of it isn't true. The reason the fight didn't happen on schedule is because initially the handlers of the match pulled the funding.
According to Bob Arum, they were talking to what were middlemen in Saudi Arabia, and now Turki Al-Sheikh is in control.
The fight was supposed to go down and everything was looking promising, but out of the clear blue sky, the funding got pulled. And that's what the delay is. I don't know why so many choose to be so short-sighted or dishonest when it comes to things involving Anthony. He's with Ben Davison now as his trainer. Rob McCracken should be his trainer because he would get his head right for that fight. But the respect is gone now, so they will never get back together again. Seems to be lost on a lot of people is that the big Saudi Arabia show was made on short notice. That wasn't even their initial plan. The old AJ that brawled with Dillian White, knocked out Vladimir Klitschko after getting knocked down, and busted up Carlos Takam after getting his nose busted, can definitely win that fight and do a job there, because Deontay Wilder and AJ has got that Olympic pedigree. So he can go outbox him, and I reiterate, Carl's entitled to his opinion. You're entitled to yours, and I'm entitled to mine, though ultimately, it's neither here nor there, because there's only one way to settle it. There's only one way to find out who would win the fight. That means AJ's got to make it past Otto Wallin, and that's understood, but that also means Wilder's got to make it past Joseph Parker, and Wilder hasn't boxed in over a year. He's older than Anthony, he's older than Joseph, and he's had more wear and tear than both. Several surgeries to the same arm, and we still don't know where his punch resistance is after those 2 systematic beatings to Tyson Fury. So it's not a one-way street. Yeah, AJ's got to hold up his end of the bargain, but so does Wilder. We can say that most would favor him to beat Joseph Parker, but most favored him to beat Tyson Fury. And look what happened. Being his age and not being active in the last calendar year, not that active in the last 12 months, what does that do to his punch resistance, his cardio, his timing? What does it do? Fight between them is often talked about like Anthony's the only one that's got to make it past his next fight, but Wilder has to make it past his too. Except that Anthony's actually been fighting, he's been active, Wilder hasn't.
So you can think what you like, but they've both got to make it to the fight.